Parents gave my $75,000 college fund, left by grandpa to golden child sister. For her business, I sued them and got kicked out, but now the truth is out in. Karma has struck back hard. I 18 FM. Going through a very tough time in life. Not that I had an easy life before my life has always been tough thanks to my narcissistic parents and their golden child. I have an elder sister, Mandy, 24F. She's the problem of my life from my earliest memory of childhood. My parents have been biased towards Mandy thanks to them. I never had a happy childhood. My sister wasn't a bully, I would say, but she's shrewd and opportunistic. She left no opportunity to exploit our parents' feelings and get away of what she wants. Well, I don't blame her. My parents have made it this way. She's their firstborn. She has a special place in their heart. But hey, I'm also their daughter. I know many parents have their favorite kid. That's fine until you don't make your other one feel unwanted. That's what my parents did, made my life miserable. I felt like a spare part in the house. I mostly got to wear my sister's discarded clothes because it was too new to be thrown away. I played with my sister's toys because, again, why should they waste money on new toys when my sisters were still in good condition? I remember it was only during Christmas that I got a new dress, and that too because they didn't want to look bad in front of grandpa and other guests, so avoid getting judged by friends and relatives. I used to get one set of dresses, shoes, and other accessories on Christmas, while my sister got as many as she wanted. If I ever complained about it, Mom would reason, don't be impatient, your sister's stuff is going to come to you next year. That's right, but as secondhand. As a kid, I bought their logic, but when I actually started understanding the situation, I created a fuss about it. I was either told that we were too poor to afford new sets for me, or I was grounded for my behavior. I don't ever remember Mom asking me what I would want for dinner or cooking my favorite food. It was always about my sister, be it Christmas, Thanksgiving, or any other occasion. The menu is as per my sister's taste. Once I rebelled about it and didn't eat the food and stormed off the dinner table, I was grounded and starved until I apologized to everyone and did the dishes for that entire week. Oh, it's so tiring to narrate my sorrow tales, but this is how it is, and you know why do my parents, particularly my mom, does this to me? It's because of her sister. My mom has suffered from narcissistic parents, so she ensured to become one. You see the irony. Mom is the eldest of two of her siblings. She says her parents pampered the younger one and spoiled her badly. Mom suffered the biases from her parents, so she decided not to pamper the younger girl, but the elder one. I feel Mom sees herself in my sister and treats her the way she wanted to be treated in her childhood. You know that kind of feeling. By the time I passed out of elementary school, I grew so resentful of my parents and my sister that I started spending my summers with my grandpa. He was the only one who truly loved me. My grandpa was not very fond of my mom. I think he was able to see through my mom's preposterous behavior. Maybe that's why he always rooted for me. The year I completed elementary school, grandpa invited me to stay with him at his farm. I felt so relieved. Never had I felt so free and relaxed. Grandpa got me everything I asked for. Guilty of saying this, but I fully exploited his love. I asked for everything I couldn't get at home: dresses, Barbies, dollhouses, video games, and every stuff I used to be a craving, but my parents didn't get it for me. I loved spending time with him at his farm amidst nature. He had a poultry farm and a small stable with 4 to 5 horses. He spent his days on them. Life was so fun in those many days with him. I never wanted to come back home. When it was time for my high school, I insisted I get admitted to a school near my grandpa so I could stay with him. My parents were more than happy to get rid of me, so from freshman year in high school, I was put up with grandpa. It was needed for both of us. He was getting old and needed someone to help him out, and I needed an escapade from my toxic family. I was in my junior year in high school when grandpa felt sick. Maybe he knew that his day was near, so he called everyone and disclosed his will. He gave his farm and stable to 2 of my uncles. He gave $150,000 cash savings to my dad, and out of which $75,000 was for me for my college. He made me promise that I would complete my college education. Mom grunted because others got properties and farm, while Dad got only some few. Grandpa reminded Dad had already taken his share of the property and sold it off to pay off his debt and start a business. Just when I started my senior year at high school, Grandpa passed away. It is the saddest day of my life now. I have no one to fall back on. I had to move back with my parents. It was not pleasant. I hated it. So do they. As my graduation day is nearing, I ask my parents for my $75K, which Grandpa left it for me. I have to fill out college applications. That's when the problem started whenever I asked about my money or mentioned about the college. They would make strange faces and ignore the conversation when I lost my patience. I put my foot down and asked them what's the matter, where's my money, that's when. She said that they had given that money to my sister for her business, what the F. That money was supposed to be for my college. They say it's no big deal, I can wait for a year because I'm still too young to go to college. I said hello, how can I be young for college when my classmates of the same age are getting admission when they couldn't reason with me? They are pleading with me to give them a year's time to pay my college tuition. I said, why can't the golden child wait for a year to start her business? I can't waste a year. I don't know what options I have to retrieve the money. Any suggestions? Update 1. A lot has happened in the last few months. My parents asked me to wait for another year. I didn't agree and pestered them for the money. They got mad at me and called me mean and selfish. They are gaslighting the situation. Not only this, my sister Mandy has started a campaign to portray me as the bad guy. I lost my when my cousin told me that Mandy is going around and telling everyone that I'm jealous of her business and want money out of her. I told Mom that if they don't give my money, I'm going to tell everyone that they have gone against Grandpa's will and given my college fee to their useless daughter. Mom got furious and said, do you want to go that level? You better pay us the rent and have your own meal. Calculate the money we spend you on. For 18 years, we are even. I fought back. Like, what the hell? They are still feeding their elder daughter, who's 24, divorced with a child, and here they are, being so mean and giving me my money. I always got good grades, but they have never been proud of me while their golden child brought shame to them. Yet they are having her back. Oh, I didn't write about my sister while I was living with Grandpa. My sister got knocked up by her boyfriend and got pregnant. By the time she tested it, it was too late to get rid of it. She had to inform my parents about it. They were disappointed, but there was hardly they could do anything about it. Mom, being a conservative Christian, got her married to her boyfriend. They both didn't want to get married, but Mandy had to because Mom left her with no other choice. Her boyfriend was anyway a bum. He never wanted to get married and take the responsibility of the child, but my parents chased him down after the baby. He abandoned my sister and her baby. My parents tried to enable him down, but he had evidence of my sister mentally abusing him. He sought divorce on this ground. My parents had to bring her back home. They have been taking care of Mandy and her child after Grandpa's demise. When I came back home, I found that it's Mom who's raising the kid because sister is often out. Sometimes Dad got furious at Mandy as why she was leaving her child for Mom to take care of. Mom came running to her rescue, saying Mandy is busy finding a job for herself, so she's out. That's not true. I saw her so many times lurking around in the nearby cafes and parks with boys. She's a school dropout, so she's having trouble finding a decent one. Could I care less when she couldn't get a job? She insisted Mom for money to start her business. Despite all this, my parents still supported her. They gave her the money without even asking me. Until I posted here, I had no clue what options I had to retrieve my money, except for asking them. So the next time I asked for the money and they pushed back, I said I would be suing them for violating Grandpa's will. Their faces turned pale. They understood I was no longer the girl they could exploit. After returning from Grandpa's, I had already started putting my foot down on their exploitation, and when I told them that I would sue them for money they lost there, it was unbelievable for them. I was no longer the gullible and vulnerable little girl. Mom pulled out a notepad and scribbled the monthly expenses they had spent on me. I mean, that woman literally put 1/4 of the expenditure on my name, and then the school fee and Christmas dress I was in. While she doodled it, and at the end, she was like, forget about the $75K you owe us. $200K, pay us before asking for your damn $75K. I got into a heated argument with Mom and then stormed out of the house after lurking in the block for an hour. I took a bus to my grandpa's house where my uncle was living now. I asked for Grandpa's diary and took his lawyer's number. I called him up and explained the situation. I asked him if he could help me out. He assured me that I'm entitled to the $75K. Grandpa left it for me, and it was his responsibility that everyone gets as per the will. He said he would be sending an official notice to my parents to give me the money, and if they default, I can sue them. That's such a relief. The notice is going to reach them in a week. I'm happy to get help, but I'm equally worried about my parents' reaction upon getting the notice. God knows what they're going to do with me. Update to this is going to be a smaller one. Just wanted to let you all know you guys were so right that my parents are going to kick my ass. I was mentally prepared for the imminent. I spoke to my friend about sharing the Condo with her, I took up a part-time job. At a cafe, the pay is too low, but they let me have some leftover food at the closing hour. I had already packed my belongings a day before the notice. Arrived as expected, my mom kicked me out. Upon receiving the notice from the lawyer, she abused me and threw my stuff out of the house. I made the mistake of not moving out before and letting them enjoy the pleasure of kicking me out. She said I was like a snake, which they have been feeding in our backyard because I lived and survived on their money while planning on biting and backstabbing them. I yelled that they left me with no options. I cannot jeopardize my life and my career because of their narcissism. The lawyer had given a month's time to my parents to respond to the notice. They're about to breach the timeline. I think they're not taking it seriously because Mandy called and abused me for giving a tough time to the family. She said parents are not going to give a penny to me and I cannot do anything about it because I don't have the money to sue them. I didn't reveal my cards to her. I silently heard her out, and when I could not take it, I hung up on her. I told my lawyer about it, and he said we can surely sue them if they don't respond by next week. Update 3. I suffered a severe backlash from my parents for suing them. Actually, I didn't want to press any felonies on them, but they left me with no choice. I thought that the lawyer's notice would do the job, but they didn't respond to the lawyer's demand. I went home to tell them that they better comply with Grandpa's. We'll also have to seek legal path. They ganged up against me, hurled abuses at me. My mom even threw things at me. I had left some of the non-essential items at home, thinking of taking them later. Mom pulled it out from my closet and broke it into confetti in front of me to hurt me. I was there to sort out the matter without a legal hassle, but it seems they wanted a ride. I came back and told my lawyer to press the charges on them. He happily did it. When they received the court order, they panicked. Dad called me and said we could sort out the family matters within us. There was no need for a legal battle, really. So I went home to sort out the family matters, but they were the ones who turned hostile towards me and left me with no choice. Now the ship has sailed, and they have to follow a legal path. I'm not in for any compromise. During the court hearings, Dad was asked to pay $75 as per Grandpa's will, but Dad dropped his guns and showed his bank statement that he didn't have so much money. He said he would pay $10,000 monthly, but my lawyer argued that I need that money for my college tuition and $10K monthly won't suffice. The attorney ordered that Dad would have to pay my tuition and other needs like accommodation and food up to a minimum value val of $75K. If my expenditure exceeded that, I'm on my own. And if my expenditure doesn't cover $75K, Dad would have to pay the balance amount. I didn't quite like this idea of still being dependent on him for the money, but I was left with no choice. Dad actually didn't have $75K to give it to me at one shot. I resisted this middle ground, but Dad pleaded with me with teary eyes and promised he would not default. So I agreed, but I told him that in case he or Mom creates any fuss about it in the future, I'm going to sue them again, and this time I'm going to demand a compensation for the mental torture. He agreed. Meanwhile, Mom and Mandy went behind me. Mandy has been telling everyone that I have given hypertension to my parents and brought shame to the house by dragging the family to court. Well, this is the irony. There ain't any shame and disgrace when she got knocked up, but I brought shame by just asking them for my own money. Wow, you know what? I don't give a damn about it anymore. They labeled me a black sheep, and now I guess I'm happy being one. Update 4. Hey peeps, I know I took a long time to update. I was busy settling into a new life in college. I graduated with top grades from high school. I sent the convocation invites to my parents, knowing they would not turn up. Surprisingly, Dad showed up. He seemed happy, and for the first time he said he was proud of me. It took him 18 years in a court case to realize that I was also his daughter, and I too needed the love and care. Doesn't matter, now I have moved past it. I quit my job at the cafe and moved to my college dorm. The money I get from Dad covers for college tuition fees, accommodation, and food. Beyond that, I'm on my own. I took up a part-time job near the college campus. I'm also giving maths lessons to my classmates for some extra bucks. I'm good at math, quite a flex. Right? Dad has been sending the money quite diligently as ordered by the court. Some of you asked about my equation with Dad, and where was he all this? Well, when Mom was mean to me, so here it is. Dad was non-existent to me. Dad saw everything wrong which was happening to me, but he chose to look the other way. He ignored my problems and never questioned Mom for her behavior. He obliged whatever Mom said. In fact, he considered that Mom made good decisions to use my sister's clothes for me because apparently Mom was saving his money throughout my childhood. I have seen Dad struggling financially, so any opportunity to save A. Penny he's game for it, so in that way if. You see, he always supported Mom. I'm also not sure how he reacted to Mandy's unexpected pregnancy. Whatever little I know is through cousins and relatives. Mandy's wedding was done, so hush hush. That no one knew when it happened not. Even me, like I said, I was living with Grandpa at that time, and I couldn't care less what was happening at my house if I have to update about my current situation. I couldn't be happier. I'm living my dream life of attending college and securing good grades. My relationship with my dad has gotten better after the court ordeal. Mom and Mandy did their thing of bitching about me and bad-mouthing me, showing me as the bad guy, but sooner they got their own to handle. Mandy got into trouble with the cops. The money they had lent to Mandy got swept away. Mandy had opened a secret gambling business under the cover of a gaming zone. My parents didn't know about it. They thought it was actually a gaming parlor, but the cops nabbed her down and seized everything. All the machines and equipment were seized. Whatever little money she had in her bank account, my parents used it to bail her out, so in the end she's left with nothing. This is what she had done with my grandpa's hard-earned money. I couldn't feel more satisfied. To be honest, deep down I didn't have a good feeling about pushing Dad to the corner to get my money. Now I feel glad I fought back, because Mandy didn't use that money for good reason. She opened a home wrecking gambling business after that encounter with cops in the prison time. Dad threw her out of the house. Mom tried to advocate on her behalf, but Dad laid a choice to Mom. It's either Mandy or Dad. Mom doesn't work, so obviously she chose Dad and asked Mandy to get a job and move out. Mandy has been using her child to emotionally manipulate Dad to let her live in the house, and she had been successful until that gambling thing came out. But now I heard that Dad is no longer buying her BS and has kicked her out. She's living with her friend, but God knows how long that would last. She has not contacted me for help. How could she? After all the torture she and Mom and had done to me, she'd better stay away from me. I won't shy away from humiliating her further. Today, before writing this update, I was reading my initial post, and it made me tear up. I was in such a bad situation back then, had just lost my support system. My grandpa, my parents ripped me off my grandpa's inheritance. I was trapped in my own house by my narcissistic parents, and I was tonight a college education. There was so much uncertainty about my future. All I could see was darkness and helplessness, but a huge thanks to this community for all the support. I still miss my grandpa. It's because of him that I'm in college today. He's my guardian angel. I know he's blessing me from wherever he is now. Now, on to the next story. 2 ex-wife cheated on me with Mr. Romantic. Now she's broke, drowning in debt from a lavish dream wedding I never gave her, and has the nerve to ask me for money. I, 49 male, met my wife, 49 female, when we were in our mid-20s. We were friends for a while before we decided to date. The two of us dated for around a year, which isn't that long in the grand scheme of things, but at the time it seemed like we had been dating long enough. She mentioned us getting married, and I said I wanted to wait a little longer. Within a few months, I finally was ready to propose to my then girlfriend. She accepted, and the two of us started planning a wedding. It was around this point I should have recognized the red flags, but I didn't. Why, well, I was in love. See, my fiancé wanted a huge wedding. Well, I understand. It was a special experience. I didn't see the point of spending a couple grand on what was essentially one day. I ended up convincing her to have a small, intimate ceremony. She seemed all right with it at the time, but I think as the months and years went by, she almost started to resent me for talking her into that. The thing is, we couldn't have afforded such a wedding at the time. I suggested that one day we could have the wedding of her dreams one day if we decided to renew her vows. This seemed to please her, but again, I felt like this resentment was always there, just lingering beneath the surface. Was I the most romantic guy in the world? No, but I tried hard to keep the romance alive by doing little things for her over the years, and it wasn't like my wife didn't know this when we got married. We also didn't have kids, so there wasn't that pressure hanging over us. The years passed, and by the time we were in our 40s, we had been married for almost 2 decades. Things had gotten stale for the past year or so, which led me to plan a romantic night out. I even asked my sister for help because, like I said, I wasn't very romantic. It ended up not going anywhere. My wife never came home that night, and when she did, she said that she had stayed at a friend's house. They had been drinking, so she figured it was safer for her to just spend the night there. I saw no reason to not believe her, so I took her at her word. The next night, I tried again, and we had a pleasant dinner. When I tried to initiate intimacy, she brushed me off saying she was too tired again. I didn't think too much of it. We both worked a lot, which was why we were finally able to afford the lifestyle we were currently living. This trend continued, and it got to the point where I had to ask myself if I was going to continue to believe her stupid lies, which were lies. I reached out to her friends to see if she was there, but they covered for her. I shouldn't have been surprised. The only way I could think was to directly confront her about her lies and ask her if she was cheating. To my surprise, she admitted everything. The night I confronted her, I think I was in shock that she just straight up told me that she was cheating. Honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. I think I thought she might try to deny it and tell me that I was wrong, but she didn't do any of that. So I asked who it was and how long it had been going on. He was a family member of one of her friends she met one day. It was an instant attraction, and he was so romantic there. It was the one thing that I could never manage to do. I did try, but my wife didn't think that I was trying hard enough. This guy was everything I wasn't and more. She claimed our marriage ended that night, and what began was the divorce process. It wasn't a bitter divorce. We agreed to split everything down the middle. The house would be sold, and we'd each take half. This seemed like the best option for us to get away from each other quickly. Once everything was final, I bought a condo with the money we split from the joint account. I still had a decent amount left over that I was going to keep for a nest egg. Eventually, the house sold, and I put that money away as well. You never knew when you were going to need it. My ex ended up doing the exact opposite. She took her money and bought an even bigger house than the one we lived in with each other. Then I heard that she was planning a wedding, a very huge wedding. I might doubt it was the wedding she had always wanted. I was having flashbacks to the wedding we had all those years ago. My ex had resented me for all these years because we never had the wedding she truly wanted. As embarrassing as it is to admit, I did look at the pictures on Facebook afterwards, and my God, it was a huge affair. Everything looked so expensive. I can just imagine how much money she spent on the whole thing, including the dress. At that point, I knew I had to take a step back and stop obsessing over this woman who was my ex. I focused on spending time with my friends and family, which helped. I assumed my ex was spending time with her new app. Turns out, though not everything was great, I learned that a year after they got married, they were in debt. My ex spent the divorce settlement on the expensive house and expensive wedding, making it so she had nothing left. Her job did bring in a decent amount of income, but my ex was the only one making good money in that household. Because the app was a bomb, she dared to reach out to me to see if I could lend her some money. My ex played on our past relationship and the memories we made over 2 decades, but I wasn't buying it. I told her that it wasn't my problem that she spent all of her divorce on pointless crap. I hung up on her and proceeded to receive at least 3 more calls from her that night, along with 3 very nasty voicemails. After I listened to them, I just laughed and played them to my friends to show how far she had fallen. They all found them as funny as I did. My ex truly had no shame, or was just that desperate. I don't know if she ever truly believed that I would give her the money or not. Even if she had reached out to me a few months prior, I still wouldn't have given it to her. At no point was I ever that desperate. I blocked her number that night because I didn't want to hear another word from her. We were done. She cheated and wanted to go be with her app, who was the new love of her life. If she had planned better than my ex would have money, just like I still did. Most of my family and friends were happy to see her go. I wonder if they had ever liked her or just tried to get along with her for my sake. It didn't matter anymore though, because my ex was a part of my past, and that was where she was going to stay.